Hello malt mates, welcome to The Whisky Bothy. This is where we are, and this is where we review whisky. It's a mission. I may not be the best at it, but I persevere, and importantly I deliver personal experience without being too judgmental. Maybe not. Yeah, I can be a bit judgmental. So I'm going to pass some judgment on this particular whisky, which I have reviewed before. I last reviewed it 3 years ago in review number 943. This is Edredeur Highland Single Malt Whisky from a small farm distillery, and this is review 1075. Pour a wee glass. 10-year-old. Bottled at 43%. Naturally, yeah, you already have preempted what I'm about to say. I would prefer it at 46%. I don't know why they don't, because it would seriously elevate the status of this single malt. And on the back label, clearly on display and not left for you to try and make out tiny little details in the glass, you actually have a bottling code and a bottling date. So I'm going to get my steampunker out and give you the details, so that if you want the specific version that I'm reviewing here today in the Bothy, right, you've got the details. The code is IL24/330. That's what it is. This was bottled on the 12th of November 2024, so a fairly recent bottling, seeing as we're now in April 2025. One reason I mention this is because Edredeur is a very small distillery. It doesn't produce much in terms of volume of product compared to much larger distilleries like Glenlivet, Macallan or Glenfiddich. So what the result is that it's going to be less available, but it's also going to be in smaller batches from production, so that the refreshment of batches is going to happen more often, particularly as demand for single malts like this grows. And I'll explain that very shortly. I've done 13 reviews of single malt official bottlings from Edredeur Distillery on my channel, so it crops up fairly frequently, and there's a reason to that, because when we do our distillery forensics, we find that with small distilleries using smaller stills, you can in fact get a lot more character coming through in the whiskies themselves, which makes it quite heartwarming, really, as far as I'm concerned, that there's a new generation of small distilleries cropping up throughout Scotland and beyond, and generally they're smaller distilleries producing quite distinctive and variable character. We're at the moment in time where this has never been more important and significant, for a very simple reason: the sheer volume of whisky connoisseurs around the world, like you and like me, who are not sticking slavishly to one or even a handful of brands. We're really diversified in the styles and the signatures of single malt whisky that are out there. We understand them because we're getting more experience of them, and the more experience we get, the more demanding we become, to be honest, for the novelty and the authenticity of intact, original signatures of single malts. And Edredeur do a very good job of presenting this, because the whole style from this small, quite charming, it used to be open to visitors but it's closed at the moment, of farm distillery in the same mould as Kilchoman and Islay. It's a small farm distillery. It doesn't take long to do the tour, and the stills are remarkably small. What have we got on the nose here? We've got a bit of a sherry monster. We'll start with that. Very much fresh sherry, Oloroso influence. I'm noticing in the nose that the intensity of the malt signature, which comes from Edra Dour, is loud and clear. So this is very reassuring. I've had a few glasses out of this bottle. I have to say I have enjoyed every single one, and as the bottle goes down, it's going to get better and better. However, why they don't bottle at 46% is beyond me. I had to say that. Let's move on. On the nose. Dried fruit. Frankly, we're talking prunes, dried plums. It's immediately obvious on the nose. This is like a vintage plum wine signature that you get from some Japanese high-strength plum wines. There's also a nodding reference to Eastern European palinkas from the likes of Poland, Slovenia, Estonia. You know, the palinka, the plum spirit, is produced all over Eastern Europe. We do not see it. I wish we did. If it was available, I would certainly buy it, and I would probably be reviewing it for you. Fingers crossed for some other day. Back to the Edra Dour. It's chock full of flavour. And I've not even tasted it yet. I'm still in the nose. I'm getting resinous notes, deep, woody resinous notes from the sherry cask influence. I'm also getting savoury notes, the umami notes, cask umami notes in conjunction with it. And it's just setting me up for what is going to be an amazing delivery on the palate. Let's go with that. Soft arrival, slightly lemon and limes, and then it bursts into life with a deeply tangy, resinous, and we're talking intensely resinous here, from the malt itself, but also backed up and accentuated by that sherry cask influence. It is initially slightly soapy. I don't mean that as a criticism. I actually mean that slight soapiness as a compliment. There is that little butyric note, that slight intense yeast, as if it's been fermented, and then literally the ferment on completion, it's been allowed to lie and continue in the washback for several days before it even headed towards the still to be distilled. That's just what I'm getting. I'm going to add some water now. First impressions are entirely positive. With Edra Dour, they always are. It's 43%, but I am adding the full 5 millilitres of water to this whiskey because it can take it. It really can. Lovely coat line in the glass. This suggests that basically it has been minimally chill filtered, and I would suggest that is more or less natural colour. The reason I'm saying that, I mean, I wish they would actually put it on the label. I'm going to have a double check in case I missed it. Could you just bear with me a second? Natural colour, it says it right down at the bottom of the back of the label. This is a natural coloured whiskey. Right, that's all cask from the cask. Right. Enormously reassuring, but at 43% it will have been filtered. Did they switch on the chill? I don't think so, because I'm looking at the strength of the coat line in the glass, which suggests there's still a lot of oil and protein and congeners that add to the density of the whiskey in there. That's reassuring. I have noticed in adding water, particularly when I leave it in the fridge, a little bit of Scotch mist will appear, but frankly not half as much as if it had been bottled at a higher strength, which it should be. Hint, hint. hint. Back to the nose. We've added the water. We've given it a few minutes. Where are we going with this one? Slightly sweeter and more rounded fruit notes. Pickled pineapple. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that in the nose. Roasted baked apples. Do you know the baked apples you put in the tin foil and you've taken the core out and you replace it with brown sugar and raisins and cinnamon and allspice, and then you bake it in the oven as a dessert? I'm getting that. That's impressive. There's also a slight minty and euthamol note. Euthamol is a sort of green mint note, slightly dentist mouthwash, but it's kind of in there, it's not prominent. The sherry cask is really imposing a lot of signature onto the delivery of this Edradour, and it's all positive. It's a good cask. It's a savoury cask. The thing is, there will be a little bit of sulphur in there, right? I'm spotting a little bit of sulphur. But the sulphur is heavily suppressed due to the substance and character and volume of the Edradour single malt signature. It's a delight that keeps getting more delightful, frankly. Grapefruit. I'm getting a little touch of grapefruit. And have you ever heard of pomelo? Pomelo is a kind of big green pear-looking thing that is in fact a very mildly flavoured grapefruit type citrus fruit. Right. If you're in the UK, you can buy them in Marks and Spencer's. That's about the only place you can get them apart from the London fruit markets. But I do recommend it's a delightful Epicurean experience, particularly with nothing added. Unlike a traditional grapefruit, the corporate grapefruits, which are strongly acidic and do need a little bit of sweetener, either sugar or honey, to actually make them palatable, the pomelo is nothing like that. It's so much milder and it's got a beautiful texture in the actual fruit itself. It's settling down now, that mintiness, that mild mint, even buttermint. There's a little bit of buttermint. I'm noticing the graininess coming through now. Grain savoury, grain umami, toasted grain. Just the excitement grows, actually. So, to the taste. Buttery. Then a stabbing shot of sweet and sour. Both the spirit and the cask, completely in tandem, bursts through. It's sustained with over-brewed breakfast tea, so strong tannin components there. Complex, integrated, slight bitter, savoury umami. A little bit of chimney soot, but nothing as pronounced as you would get in the peated version called Belechan, which will be my next review, by the way, just so as you know. Not too many spoilers. And the finish is, after such an explosion of flavour at the beginning, it's what you would expect for a 10-year-old. It settles down quite rapidly. The spirit is very much in control of the event towards the finish. From the latter part of the development, there's a little bit of lime juice. Again, the grain savoury, the barbecued pineapple part of it. A little bit chocolatey in places, a little bit kind of fruit chocolatey notes coming from the imposition of a good solid Oloroso cask. What's not to like? The only thing not to like is that they should have bottled it slightly stronger and charged a little bit more for it, but it would have elevated the whole calibre of this as a desirable whisky. Edradour is not for everyone. It's for the experienced palate. It's an uncompromising stormy type of single malt. Big, bold flavours. There's not a lot that's delicate about it, but within that kind of sherry storm and malt richness, there are some complex and delicate notes which start to surface as time goes on, and you just leave the whisky lying a little bit longer in the glass to give you more of the experience. With these big flavoured whiskies, the slower you go, the further you'll get. It's the way it goes. What am I going to give this for a mark? I would have given this 85 if it had been at 46% and unchill filtered and said so. But hey, 84 is a pretty damn good mark at this moment in time for an available standard single malt Scotch whisky. If you love the big flavours, if you love the big monster moments, you're going to love Edradour. And if you like that old-fashioned yesteryear kind of Victorian industrial theme type, cyberpunk type whisky, you're going to love this. It ticks all the boxes. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, leave a comment, subscribe. Yeah. And join me again for Ralphie Review 1075 Extras, in which, along with this bottle, I'll be popping other bottles onto the barrel from out my opened bottle stash and just giving you a brief history of them and explaining why we should never drink a bottle of whisky too fast. It's important. See you then. Bye-bye.